Yeah, you kind of have. All right, everybody, rise with us, do the pledge, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we're a short one commissioner tonight due to illness. We're gonna go ahead and start with the auditor's notes.
Minutes from last meeting.
Make a motion, second.
Your famous report.
I'll second that motion to approve.
Can you double? There's again. The microphones just to make sure. Thank you. Okay, payroll report.
I'll second your motion. To approve.
Your letter of support for the hospital for grant.
Okay, we got a letter of support from the hospital for a grant opportunity for them. Do you wanna explain that?
It's we're building a new clinic in Duggar. Right now, we're refurbishing the 100-year-old building that's there, but that's only a short-term measure. We're gonna have to rebuild if we want it to be something sustainable. Wabash Valley Community Foundation right now has a grant cycle open, so we're writing a grant so that hopefully we could speed that process up and have that building built in 2 years with their aid.
Okay, we got a motion to sign it. I will second that motion.
This is.
Oh, I don't.
They don't send you anything.
It just is. But that's.
So this is an amendment to Car Thomas. They operate our landfill. They have credit to our county that we owe them. So they wanted to amend this to, they will start mowing to pay off that credit for the next 3 years extension in accordance with state and many guidelines.
Okay.
So, which I've talked to Gerald and he was good with everything. So we'll just,
We don't know how many miles to make.
well, no, Jill has a price or what we owe them, so
Okay.
they're gonna work off that and
Okay.
dump and stuff like that. So. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Okay. Motion to amend the agreement for our card.
Yeah.
Okay. I will second that motion.
That's easy to take care of that.
I just want, you want me to sign this or do you want? I know Bob's not here.
No, just, you're here.
Yeah, you.
I think we have Jill fill in the numbers for what we owe.
And here it is. You guys got those estimates for the lawnmowers?
Yeah, we got estimates for a new lawnmower for the courthouse. Is that correct?
Mhm.
Do you have any questions?
Is there a new need for right now, can we table that?
I don't know, John, I don't know it.
Okay.
Let me to, it's gonna cost you more. I don't know. I know they've been having issues and it's,
I'm gonna go ahead and ask the table until we start carrying about it.
The motion to table, I will second that motion.
Brad would be the one to talk
Okay.
to and ask him what the situation is with it. Okay, and then lastly, I have the contracts for the opioid disbursements. So Brant, you will need to sign those. If you want to wait till the end of the meeting, just do it, and you can sign them at the end. There's several of them before we can disperse the checks.
Like, motion, go ahead and pass and sign at the end of the meeting.
I will second that motion. Okay,
This is the economic development reimbursement.
we're gonna do it. Are you done?
I'm done. I'm good. That's it.
It's the one that they negotiated. $1,000.
Okay. We got the Economic Development Expense Reimbursement Agreement for Copia Digital LLC, which is a solar company that is coming down to the Corral area. Is that correct?
I'm not positive where it's at.
Okay.
They've been talking to Rick Hall for a long time. I know that.
This is just the expense reimbursement to where they will pay up to $150,000. And the county is not liable for any of that lawyer expense, legal expense.
Legal and Baker Tilly and all
Right.
that. Yeah.
So.
I'd like to motion to adjourn.
I entertain a motion, made a motion, John Waterman. I will second that motion. All in favor? Somewhere. Terry, you have anything else?
I think that's all.
All right, Jerry, do you have anything?
Just a couple of things. One, I have a speed limit recommendation. I just finished this today, Jerry, so I've got the key yet to write that ordinance.
Okay.
But it's a speed limit recommendation, Silver Creek. From the city county boundary around Bell Street, west of 40. There's no current speed limit signs, ordinances in place. So I recommend a 30-mile-an-hour speed limit.
And that's east. So
East of 41 to the city limit.
you need this, sir.
I'll need a copy of that. Jerry, you
Yeah,
can email
I'll
it,
email maybe.
and then I'll prepare the ordinance.
Well, these are all the same ones.
Yeah, I thought that.
Accept this.
You really pass it now, you want,
Well, we'll prepare the ordinance. I mean, you could pass it tonight if you want, but probably best just to wait till I have the ordinance, then pass it all at once. It's the way we usually do it.
Motion to table, I will second that motion. Also, I'd like to, get some no truck signs with this detour on 54. On 175 east. As well, we don't wanna tear up those new blacktop roads, especially spending all that money down there.
Right.
Going down to 350 south. See, I'm trying to, and Tuesday.
they took mine first night.
If we get one, well, 350 south, I don't know how we do that with the farmer down there hauling turkeys in and out.
They should be,
Okay.
unless it's,
Yeah.
written stuff that.
Yeah,
We'll get them all around them.
Yeah, I just try to get it all that detour area so we don't have torn up roads.
The only good thing about that is it's not like the 48 and the other closure. This is just a 20-day closure.
Okay.
So it's not gonna be a long closure like the other.
Are they gonna do a stoplight or are they gonna do the full closure?
I think it's full closure.
Do they have the unofficial route yet?
The shorter ones, they don't, a lot of times they don't do it if they're real short.
Do you think we should have them do a unofficial route and have them? Especially if, I mean, that's all brand new blacktop and I'd hate to see that. It's nice.
Yeah.
I think it's bad idea.
Yeah, you can work with them on that.
I
but
don't know what their policies are. I'll just.
I think it's definitely worth discussing and see.
I didn't think they would go that way because it takes you so far south of town.
With Paxton being all new blacktop and everything else, I'd hate for, to crumble.
Yeah.
Especially with heavy loads. So I think that'd be a
Okay.
conversation that needs to be had.
I agree.
So.
The only other thing I have is informational. Again, working on revising the road closure policy. And this is. Essential, this is, I've highlighted in yellow, the things that, just pass one down, people. I highlighted in yellow the things that I intend to change. And so when you guys get a chance to look at that, if you have any input you want to give it to me, you can let me know. So those are the things I think we need to look at and consider rewriting. I don't expect you to do that.
Is this for like businesses, like coal mine and stuff like that? Is
Yeah.
that what you're, okay.
That's all I need.
Moving on, commissioners, John, do you have anything?
Supposed to have the 48 closure done this week, open back up again. So that's what we need to. Have Terry come down, we need to go with several new blacktop roads and all that, they agreed to fix 900. So we have that damage on several of them coming into that area, you know what I mean, so I don't know how we're gonna handle that, the agreement was that. They're just gonna do, they're gonna do 300 and 800, and then they moved it to 900, so we got quite a bit left with. Well, it's floating up out here and all that new blacktop gone. So. We have to get together this week sometime with that. That's it.
I don't have anything right now, other than, Bob left me some for the charitable distributions for the 3 organizations from the Community Enhancement Agreement. Terry, he wanted me to give you a copy of the charitable funds board governance and oversight policy.
Right.
Need to go.
There was one, this
This is
is
your-
scene of it.
Okay, that's yours.
For you to
Yeah.
read that.
If you just want to review that and let us know your thoughts on
I
it
will.
and, check into that and see.
Sure. Yeah, he had told me on the phone earlier that he was gonna try to have a copy here for me tonight to take to review, so.
Other than that, I don't have anything else from my side. Go on to the next item, Sheriff Bobbit. Is he here?
He was outside when I came.
Maybe that's
So we
right.
probably didn't have anything.
Jason, you got anything?
Oh, no, all right now.
Okay.
No.
I know Colt was out here too. Colt, you got anything?
No, we're good. Thank
Okay. Well, next item on the agenda, Springer Insurance. Ben? Well, there's good news and bad news. We had a horrible thing here last year. So we've had to go to the different type of deductible plan for the liability and property. Good news side. We're retired. But we will go down like $18,000 on that. The total for last year on everything is $840,619. This year for what the premium is gonna cost you is $695,544. Everything is pretty good. And that's just what we have had in the past. And including a list of all the buildings. And skip back to this way, from first time. It's a SIR program, and that basically then for the self-funded reserve. It's kind of like the New England Government self-funded health
Right.
plan. This works in the same manner for that. To where you pay the smaller claims and you
it all goes in the reserve when the claims are capped 400,000. The column on the left is the property, and those do not go to the cap. It says 25,000 deductible on the property, or the 2% will deductible, wind hail. And 2% doesn't sound like much, but it's by location, the courthouse to be one location. For the courthouse, the wind hail, I don't think it's gonna happen, but wind hail with the structure is built. But the deductible would be 2% of the wind hail, just be about 40,000. So it's very significant when it adds up. The locations with multiple buildings all over like fairground, house, parking lot, everything at that location, total of the building, 2% of that amount would be the one paid off. The red and green portion shows you general liability and law enforcement, public officials, the auto physical damage. And you have $5 million there for coverage, and you have a $250,000 deductible for everything except physical damage on the auto. And when the pay claim here goes down here, what adds up to the 250, then that's all you can pay out of that line. And the total gets to 400 out of all lines, then the insurance will pay the rest. So it's basically a high deductible plan. It's $145,000 less than last year for premium. So what I'd like for you to do is take the $145,000, put it in a checking account to pay claims, and then add some to it if you can. If you can't, we'll see how the things go. I'd kind of like to sit down and go through it in more detail. Next week, maybe you guys have time in the insurance committee.
It's gonna be just past the 19th.
Yes,
You do need.
yeah, renews on the, so we'll have a choice.
Yeah.
And believe me, you've been here before.
Oh, yeah.
How many counties are doing this?
Do you know? I think 5, but I know, and some large cities have done this too. Yeah. Part of the premium was the third-party administrator or administrative claim. And we need somebody with the county to be a risk manager. The county, what the plan is, not whether to file it or not. And Terry needs to be in, like, call the company. So he knows, because you're gonna have a lot more say about how things are settled now.
Yeah, and that's the way we do it up north too, that county, and the deductible quote's been 150,000, but they're waiting on their new quote this coming year because of all the cases too. So this is pretty common now, is what we're seeing.
And
Harder and harder to get insurance.
It is. So really what we need to do tonight is go ahead and pass it, we'll get the union set up so everybody's on the same page.
Okay.
But we'll think about who the claims manager will be or risk manager. Carry will always get a call.
Right.
Brad, so are you guys gonna vote on this? And then I think the insurance board needs to have a meeting to go over this policy and make sure everything's correct.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay. But can we change it after they vote?
Yes,
Okay.
it's just had to be in place by the 8th.
Okay.
we'd be uncovered if we didn't.
Okay.
We definitely don't need that.
No,
And we started 6 months in advance, doing our marketing, trying to put together. Some of them still come in on Friday afternoon.
Well, with that, Eric,
Motion.
make a motion to pass this insurance, property liability. All right, John made a motion. I will second that motion. All in favor? Thank you.
Thank you, Amy.
Thank you.
Do I know if something just-
Yeah.
Should be something. more to decide.
Yeah.
Well, look, it's not- I should've known longer than it's,
All right, old business, Becky Guthrie with Ride Solutions.
I'm Beth Browning and I'm here pinching for Becky this evening. Again, we just thank you for your past support for Ride Solution and ask for your continued support for the 2027 year, and we would request $10,000.
I think I already sent you the approval for this.
You sent the resolution and
Okay.
so
That's
that
what I
was just to be included in the 2027 grant. Now this is the actual funding request.
We do that at budget time, don't we?
Mhm.
Okay. We will definitely take this into consideration. Budget time is coming up here soon and we'll go that route.
Thank you
Okay,
very much.
thank you.
Yeah, Grant, John, my phone's blowing up about the lawnmower. I guess it's just on its like last leg. So you guys could look over those proposals and really think about it. And we don't want to make a decision tonight, but maybe sometime this week.
That's what I said, we would take care of next meeting, can't we?
Well, that's still 2 weeks away.
You don't have a weed eater? We did it now.
Well, we got two quotes.
Okay.
One from Terre Haute, one from Pigs, but there's a $300 difference. One has more of a warranty with the other. You wanna make a decision tonight or?
Like that was on the bid on that, that's why I questioned Terry on that, you know, if they're really close on that, except for the towers on the warranty. One that way out of town, one local.
I think that you can, you don't have to go with the lowest bid, so. They're close, you can make your decision.
That's what I
I mean,
said.
it's gonna cost us more money to transport it back and forth for service.
Yeah.
John makes a motion. You want to send your motion to table it first? We need that.
Yeah. Table first.
So you're rescinding you make a
Yeah.
motion to rescind your.
Right,
motion.
make a second.
I'll second the
Yeah.
motion to rescind.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Okay, now,
So make a motion for the pig. Yeah.
I will have motion on Figs for the new lawnmower for the courthouse.
I don't think so. Let's be telling them and go get it and then they can
okay.
from there.
All right, do we have any other old business for this evening? Go ahead, Lindsay.
Rex Bob was on the speed bump on 300 North. He was gonna get that fixed last week. Did he talk to you about that? 100 East. Or, yeah, 100 East and 300 North.
What
Yeah,
is it?
I can answer. It's the paving from last year.
Okay.
Yeah, we have a commitment from that paving company in writing that they're gonna fix it this year.
You know, how long's that take?
Well, it's when they come back to finish the rest of community crossings paving, they were gonna fix, that, all those locations from last year needed that.
And then did you have to check, look at the rest of the pavement for when they're on do the gravel. What's rough? I think it went rough for 8 months gravel, very comfortable. Like the sides of it are starting to crumble, it's got some holes in it. Like, did they just not let it cure, wrong time of year, like what happened here?
I would have to take a better look at it to usually a reasonable explanation of what happened.
And then kind of onto that, with the poster on 54, everyone's like on Facebook, everyone's like, take, what's that, 575 over there, and then hit 300 more, so it's basically everyone's telling you to drive down the road from Duggar and then hit that 300 north. So there's gonna be a lot of traffic on it anyway. So we're like, is that gonna be a problem with that, or are you gonna make everyone go south, or?
We've tried that on the 48th, when they closed all that off, everything, and the traffic went where they wanted to go. We had barricades up, we had signs, they take them every night, they take them, throw them in the ditch, or take the police station. And then went where they wanted to go. I mean, that's what. There's no way to stop them. I mean, you know, that influx of traffic, you know, comes through the state highway. It just, so large amount of cars and trucks, semis, that's what, probably have what semis come down county roads. And some of them just do paved, it's all broke up, and, I mean, it's a mess.
I think the only saving grace on this one, like I said earlier, is it's just a 20-day closure. It's not through the winter and the pre-fall cycle.
So is this something you can get with the state and ask for reimbursement money when they break the road, or one of the two roads, or?
Typically not for these short-term closures. The longer, over the winter, they, but typically for these short ones, they don't.
Any more old business? Wes?
I just want to address the elephant in the room. Uh, This company that's going in down there live, basically, promised a lot. We still ain't seen what they promised the county. I just asked in future negotiations with this company, I mean, they can't even show up tonight to face the fact. But I've noticed over the weekend at the airport, we've had a big ag cat in there spreading cover crops from northern Indiana. There's nothing local being spent here. They ship their cover crop seed in. They're not paying the airport anything to use the runways, tarmac, nothing. They're not even buying fuel off of it. And then I found out today, this company that's going in down here, they're not even using local law enforcement for security. They didn't even come to the sheriff's department and ask them if they're deputies. I know we're stretched thin there, but we're not getting nothing. We have to look at all these people every day. Gas stations, ball games, church. This company's gonna be gone in 20 years probably. They don't give a shit how they leave. That's all I've got to say.
You're right on that. We've been having a lot of conversations between. I will respond to that. On the county end, there's been a lot of conversation. We've been talking about. No, I understand that.
Mechanical frame, they like it.
Yeah.
What else does they like about it?
And it is a lesson learned to us. We're taking it to the next step with possibly future investments here. So there's gonna be a lot more discussion had with not only the commissioners, but the attorneys about modifying some ordinances for, possible future investments. We don't know. But this is a hard lesson learned for our end. We got the okay from the unions to proceed with the road use agreement. However, it bit us in the ass.
It
But
is.
it's,
I said nothing.
Yeah.
And I had one other thing. And it goes back to solar. When them solar companies come in, and Jackie was part of this in 22. Everybody asked about the fire. They were gonna train these fire departments. They had a fire up earlier today. Fire department couldn't even get in there. I mean, if I'd been there, I'd have ran the damn gate. But,
Yeah.
we
What?
need to hold them accountable.
If they-
The courts that are here need to be held accountable.
The only one on the property couldn't even speak English.
Well,
That's another problem I have.
Yeah.
One thing he.
built the data.
Pardon?
A lot of the kids speaking with them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna be. It's like so many. Where's the contracts?
I have a question. Bob Davis had mentioned when they did the announcement of Heartland that there had been discussions for a couple of years before it was announced to the public. And due to open door policy is, and then you guys are talking about all these agreements and stuff. None of these agreements were in public. So can, under open door public access, can somebody under transparency provide some of those emails, communications, when, and people that we're talking about? Because
You can have executive sessions for negotiations.
Mhm.
That isn't an open door policy. We can do that
Okay,
by law.
okay,
Because I've reached out to the open door law attorney as well, and they said we can do that for negotiations. It doesn't have
Okay.
to be public. The only thing is, we didn't make an agreement, other than the community enhancement
Mhm.
agreement and the road use agreement. Those are the only two agreements that this commission ever signed.
okay. Well, that's what the public is wanting is transparency.
No,
Yeah,
I've only been discussing this with the commissioners like maybe 4 to 6 months at the most.
Yeah.
yeah.
I have a problem with that. How does a multi-billion-dollar project come in and the commissioners don't know anything? That's a problem with commissioners there and the redevelopment. There's a $46 billion project that's been worked on
We
for,
can't, the commissioner with no zoning.
well, I understand that.
You know, if you $50,000 a day, you're gonna sell.
Well, no, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But how does these plans get brought up and the redevelopment says they don't know what's going on? No one knows what's going on in this county, but you have a $46 billion project come in and nobody knows nothing about it. That's ridiculous. That's where you guys have failed. Because the council, the redevelopment and everyone,
And
Mike, I can tell you, I found out 2 weeks prior.
well, and
I was left
I-
out of a lot
I
of
understand.
conversation.
I understand.
I will tell you that 100%, but
I
I
know.
was left out of a lot
I-
of conversations.
Well,
Because I asked that man when I found out they were meeting, if they were having meetings with, in
Mhm.
our area, and he said yes.
and you were not asked to come,
And I was not asked to come
which is bullshit
because
because you are a commissioner.
Yeah.
And is that in your district?
it absolutely.
It's in your district and you weren't even invited. That's wrong.
Terry, can you answer that? If it was invited? Were
So
you-
which meeting?
To any meeting that,
During the
that,
last, we hired an attorney out of Indianapolis named Rick Hall. He's the state commissioner's attorney and he's handled all of these data centers and solar deals throughout the state for all the counties.
when was he hired?
Do you know the answer to that? I don't know.
That's
I mean,
prior to my-
Yeah.
once we knew about them wanting to come in here, he was hired then at
they
that
started
point.
leaving the store,
So it's
and then they bought it.
within the last 4 to 6 months.
Yeah.
He was hired.
So.
But I mean, I will tell you this much. We've had all kinds of conversations, Rick and I and Bob Davis. And I mean, we can't, 2 of the commissioners can't be involved in any meetings or
Right.
violation open door law. And so,
Then you should have meetings for it then.
yeah, so anyway, it all would come back to every time Rick Hall would say, you guys don't have zoning, so really what enforcement powers do
No.
you have in this county? And that's why they're coming here to start with.
Oh, well, they're all over the United States, so they're not just coming here, they're all over the United States and other places have zoning.
There's a reason they're coming here though and not.
Right now,
in
yes,
Texas.
I understand that.
Right.
But for this large of a project to go and no one in the county to know anything about it, there's something's not right. And it's gonna come out who knew about it, who didn't know about it. Whenever everyone says that nothing was, we don't know, we just found out. I mean, it's all bullshit because you can't have that large of a project coming in, one of the largest one in the Midwest, and the representatives of the county, the representative of his own district doesn't even know about it.
Well, I mean, obviously they were negotiating with the landowner who was here a couple meetings ago, right?
Well, they've been negotiating with
We
her.
didn't-
And I think they've signed a confidentiality agreement though.
So that would mean they don't have to come to us. I mean, it's just between the property owner and.
Redevelopment Commission, how long did they know?
That would be a question for them.
Well, apparently they didn't know either.
So we have a motion to make zoning a thing.
You don't want to do that.
There's a legal process to go through to do that.
Oh, we can. And it takes 2 years to get it back on the referendum
It's a
now.
big process.
So that-
So would an ordinary resident receive this level of flexibility and accommodation that this business has if they wanted to put something on their land? Just an ordinary resident decided that they wanted to do something according to your non-zoning, they could do whatever they
That's-
wanted and then get all of the accommodations.
As long as there's no ordinance against it.
There's no orders. I said we don't have zoning. I said that we've tried that.
What about protecting the eagles? There is a federal thing against the eagles nests. There is a federal against relocating those heron and crane.
People complain all the time, and the surveyor's office,
Hold on, let one person at a time here.
all the time, and they're like, hey, Jerry, you know, just, or if I get the same questions. Hey, we wanna know, first of all, you have any zoning, I'm like, no, there's no zoning, like, oh, right, coming down. People love no zoning. You love no zoning until this happened, and I understand completely, 110%, just everybody. Oh, and I just say, no, I brought it up and everybody like kind of like agreed, but and everyone takes the rumors and they blow up and. No, I'm serious. I didn't know if it was. There should be something on the floors, not for the community. There should be some protections. We know what these data centers are gonna bring. There should be some safeguards put in place for us. Instead of all of Sullivan County being covered with solar panels and data centers and nuclear or electrical powering stations. There should be at some point in time that we have safeguards saying, we have enough here. You have an economy that's based on tourism. You're gonna make us a toxic zone. How many people are gonna come in here if it's Sullivan Lake dry? It doesn't make any sense.
How's it gonna suck Sullivan Lake dry?
If it drains the water system.
That's
I'll
not.
interrupt you when you.
I'm asking you a question.
I had.
Sorry.
You do that every time.
Please settle down.
No, I'm just asking.
Let's have a civil let's have a civil conversation.
Maybe something's not the answer, but what could be some answer that help the situation and, or at least income. Like maybe nothing can help with what's going in right now, what can help stop or put a cap on anything else of that nature?
Do like other.
Well, it's very, the way it is now, there's
We
nothing.
talked about that.
Yeah, we've talked about it, and we got lawyers out of Indianapolis, we're trying to figure out a system that we legally could do that. But without zoning, as I said, if we told you, everybody said, without zoning, our hands are tied on a lot of stuff. I said it just,
And if they're not coming for abatements, we have no other time to.
But they promised local jobs and that was in the contract and they broke that promise. Wasn't there, they promised in the
But you
meeting.
Say it on TV.
But there's not been any employment out there yet. I don't, you guys say all these local jobs, but there's no one working out there. Yet.
But it was found out that
There's-
they've already signed 3 contracts for work that's coming, and that's what upset all of us and
Yeah.
everybody else that's here. So that's something, and really I would caution you guys about saying too much about what our options are, because there's still some legal haggling going on here behind the scenes. So, and they watch every one of these meetings and know exactly what's going on, what's
we
being
have
said.
in the county.
So,
since
But there's,
we are-
this is not done yet.
It's not, and they acted out in a wrong manner, and there's a $70 million lawsuit against that county right now. And we don't wanna get in that position.
Go ahead, sir.
So just what Terry said, this is not done yet. Keep in mind, Chincha, they're not here tonight. Pasco's not here tonight. Gaylor Electric, any of the other contractors, they've already signed contracts with. You see in this room, who's here tonight? They don't give a shit about you guys. They don't give a shit about the people in this community. Look around and see who does. So
We don't.
Can I say something?
Yes, sir.
You guys control the roads. The way I understand it, I know when you sign the contract with them, they have access to that area, but you guys control the roads. I don't know, just think about that. But every job that they bring in from out of state, that money goes out of state. And if we can keep the labor in this community amongst these people, then the money will come here. And so if there's anything in the world, you talk like it was just a done project, but our lawyer there making comments that maybe there's some loopholes. We need to find those loopholes and put a stop to it to where we can get our local labor involved and keep the money in and around Sullivan County.
Like I said, this was a big lesson learned for us, and we're gonna try to correct it.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Buzzy.
I'd just like to reiterate what Wes said, you know. The bottom line is, there was a gentleman stood right here and lied to everybody in this room, lied to everybody in the county. That's the bottom line. You know, the thing is, everybody was kind of held to the fire. What I'd like to ask is that you guys, and this is in Terry's realm, that we potentially try to pass an ordinance or something to where when these companies come to us, we have a period of 90 days or 120 days, whatever we can do legally, to where those permits, we have to wait that amount of time before we can issue those permits. That way we can do our research, we can find out what's going on, find out if their intentions are true, whether they are going to sign these agreements or not, like they promised us. And I'd like, you know, put a lot of the rumors to bed. You know, I see it on Facebook and stuff. Everybody says, well, they backed out of the union agreement. They did not back out of the union agreement. There never was a union agreement. There was talks of a union agreement. And the only reason they done that was to secure their road use permit. Now they've got their road use permit. So they talked to us. We met with those people 2 or 3 times. The idea was to present them with a PLA. We presented them with a PLA. They looked at us like we had 6 heads. They didn't even know what we were talking about. So there in turn, Potentia did not tell the contractors what was going on. They had no idea. They didn't come here and, you know, to build this job union. They never had zero intention of building this job union. They came here, those contracts are already signed, sealed, delivered. That's the bottom line. You don't have a project of this size and come here without a game plan beforehand. Nobody's gonna do that. They lied to the commissioners, they lied to redevelopment, they lied to the council, they lied to the local folks, they lied to the union, local trades, everything. But we need to put something in place to prevent that from happening again. I'd like to see those agreements signed and in place before any road use agreements are ever issued. And there's nothing saying that you have to come here and build union. There's nothing. They didn't ask for a tax abatement. There's no tax abatement involved, so I'll put that rumor to rest too. 0 tax abatement was given to these people. They asked for no money. Supposedly there's no federal dollars involved. So in order for it to be held to the RBO or to union stamp, you know, for the union to do the job, there needs to be a couple different things. And that's those tax abatements, some use of county money or federal money. Other than that, we negotiate with them and we try to get them to sign the PLA. They told us they were going to sign the PLA, which is going to put all these county people to work, all these union members to work. All these trades have ramped up their apprenticeship programs, taking in extra people from this county, that's the surrounding counties, big numbers of people. Now, you know, we was expecting this job, they said 700 to 2,700 workers. Now we're looking at out-of-state workers coming in doing this work. So I just want to reiterate to everybody, you know, it's not just, it's not the council's fault, it's nobody. We got lied to. We all have to.
This got. And no one is told the county getting anything out of it. None of the local labor is. Somebody is. So who in this town here on this commission is profiting from this job? Somebody.
I don't believe anybody profits.
Somebody.
People, so
Somebody's profiting.
the law here.
All of Sullivan County make this decision. And, oh, well, you guys got lied to, that's the answer. all of this, we got lied to by one guy and one landowner's property. That's all they use right here. That's
Where
it.
did the lies stop? What else are they lying about? Are utilities gonna go up? Water supply, like where do the lies stop?
That's a good question. Somebody,
Who's gonna find out that?
news media about the lies that you've had already. Because it was all fake hoopla when it was announced, and then you don't hear anything. Now this is what's going on. I'm not even stopping the media.
But if this has happened in other counties and this is how they operate, shouldn't have we approached the other counties that have suffered through this and learned something ourselves about it? I mean, why didn't we go forth with Whitestown or wherever it is in the whole state? And there, you know, we didn't pay any attention to how those communities got treated. You say we should.
We did contact, like I said, somebody's out of state deals, and it went through pretty much the same way with them. You know what I mean?
But they got lied to. And we went.
And we just went with it?
No, that's before it
Learn anything from
hit
this?
all at the same time. It hit all the same, that's what I'm trying to say, it hit all the same.
It
time.
does it.
Yeah.
You know, everywhere else in Indiana,
Do what?
they're doing union data centers everywhere else in Indiana, but not here.
I
So you
can't,
guys didn't contact anybody else.
yeah, we did. And
So,
when
why
I
did we get
when
lied
I
to?
called me, I immediately called Terry, and he called hold of the attorneys in Indianapolis right then. I mean, we've been working on this thing, but it just, like I said, with no zoning, it just, it tied your hands.
Right.
When you contact your attorney or what you call it, the attorney that specializes in data centers, I'm sorry. They didn't say, hey, you guys need to step back and slow down because I'm getting some bad vibes from these other counties. That attorney didn't do that for you?
No.
Different, I mean, paid for that? It's a different company too.
Right.
You paid for that attorney, so
Some of these questions, I don't think it's best that we answer tonight. Because we'll be divulging things that could still be arguments as an ongoing thing here. So I don't.
I got a question, Bud, here. Is there any negotiations that's going on right now with this company with all the unions? Or is it a done deal that the unions ain't gonna be involved? Or is there negotiations that, hey, there still might be some work out there for them? I mean, because you're here all kinds of things. So I'm just wondering if there is a possibility.
There are still talks being done with this company. It's the ARCO. They're a non-union general subcontractor that came in here. There is a couple jobs that were awarded, I believe it will be union. But it's a small portion of the project. You know, we are still in negotiation with them and talking to them, but right now it's not going real well. Just say that because I don't know. Elaborate on the, what they call it, the liquidated damages or what?
Yeah, the liquidated damages was anywhere from $175,000 per day to $1 million.
So basically what they offered, building trades was us the opportunity to bid work with the contingency that we would agree to the liquidated damages clause, which is $175,000 to $1 million a day, every day that you're late on that project. Well, there's no contractors around here that are going to bid on because nobody can eat $1 million a day in liquidated damage. When they come in here, they're already way behind schedule. Told us the first building they wanted it done in November before it come here. They still haven't broke ground. So they're behind the 8 ball big time. So that's the only thing.
But they're not held to that.
The other people aren't held to that same standard.
I cannot answer that, but I would assume there's probably some stuff in their contract, though. They've already signed on the dotted line with all these non-union contractors. It's very well they can bankrupt all of them. But you know, our union contractors, like I said, there is a couple contracts signed. But for us to be able to build this work, none of us can, they're not gonna eat $1 million a day liquidated damages. So they're just kind of putting that out there so they can tell these guys, the rest of the county that, hey, we're trying to work with the unions. Probably gonna say the unions aren't want to work with us, but that is why.
Buzzy, are their contracts public information?
Are their contracts public information? I would seriously doubt that. I mean, you would have to ask them or something. We don't know.
I see
That told us who they have.
Hey Buzz, I know there's many different locals here, different, not locals, I guess, different trades. The only ones out there now is, the construction, the 841, I guess you could say. They're the only ones that would be involved at this moment, correct?
No, shouldn't be involved. You would have
Me.
neighbors doing some work. Then, you know, once you start grinding ground package, you're gonna have a lot of trades involved.
Okay, well, I mean, once they start that, but
But right
for right now,
841 would be the major impact right now, yes.
but nothing has been said about any future. I mean, you said there may be a couple contracts. Cause I don't believe, do we even know a schedule of what their work even is? I mean, so to start off with, when this goes, they're not gonna have the labor to take this on. Sullivan County doesn't have the labor to take this project on, let alone all the other projects, the solar going on and all the other work everywhere. I mean, so I guess the next question I have is, what is local? What do you call local labor? Sullivan County only? Okay. Oh, no, I mean, it was brought in. Okay, so it's brought up about the police out there being in Worthington. Yeah.
Across the river working and stuff.
It was brought up earlier about the police out there from Worthington. I call that local. From the last solar, they did.
Somebody said they did.
They did. I talked to them this morning. They did. And they've had Sullivan people out there, but there's a couple other projects going on that Sullivan deputies are going, staying at other places also. And they were out, I think there was a Sullivan City, there was a Terre Haute, there was Worthington.
The chief deputy did. The county deputy was not even asked.
Well, they said Sullivan City was out there. I don't know about county. It's Worthington out there today. They may just have people available, but is that, I consider still Worthington local.
There's been no Sullivan City police out there.
There have not. Okay, I was told there was. So local is surrounding counties?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you don't have a lot of surrounding county workers, yes.
Yeah. So I mean, I say I wouldn't be upset necessarily Worthington's out there just because.
You know, labor force in this town, in this county alone, can't supply the entire
No.
job.
No.
A lot of these trades have taken in extra people to handle this extra.
But
load.
just for this job?
No, not just for one.
Okay,
job, but
I'm saying this.
Job has sparked a lot of that.
Yeah, I mean, this has only been known for a month, so.
Actually, the gas units that are gonna be built, you know, we're all trying to make it.
I mean, I don't even think all the unions around can even.
Everybody applied, you know, we've taken in a lot of new people.
Heartland promised that our water and our utilities wouldn't go up when they did the big announcement. Since they lied about other things or misrepresented, what can you guys do to prevent that from happening? Because that's a big hot topic with the cost of utilities and water.
Many other counties are being affected by that too.
We received a letter from Wind Energy that the utility rates would not go up. Heartland would be paying for all infrastructure upgrades.
Can you make that public for us to see that? And will they be held accountable?
Mrs. Beard from Wind Energy, I think it's Leslie Beard, I think is what her name is. She made an announcement on the Wind Energy.
Okay,
So
can you like throw it up on your website or page or something?
uh,
And then
fine.
water, because since it is near an aquifer, it will, and then a lot of our water comes from the aquifer. So if they use the water, what are you guys gonna do about water shortages? That's a big problem we have throughout the county is how many counties have trouble with their water here? So, I mean, what are you gonna do to protect our water? Because without water, we can't survive.
I'm not aware, did they? I don't know what's going on with the water out there. They haven't really said, have they?
Not that I'm aware of.
They're supposed to have the annual system where they be snowing out and they agreed to build it's like a sewer plant to help cleanse the water and stuff as it's going through and coming back out. So,
That water consumption.
out of the plant, the filling system,
Who's supplying? I don't think they've ever told us who's supplying the water. That's-
Oh, they have never said anything, who's supplying water. That's-
Well, can you guys as commissioners do something to protect us as citizens and our water and our clean water?
That answers some of
Yeah.
your questions. But some of this stuff's gonna be resolved through the legal process. Let's not tell everybody our game plan with everything ahead of time.
Could I say one more thing?
Yes, sir.
The main thing we need to remember is every outside job that comes in here is one that's here. Which Sullivan County don't benefit from, or the region don't benefit from. So we need to keep that in consideration. Every job that comes in from away from here, we lose.
Brenda, can I say something?
Yeah.
I really think that communication with government is terrible. And I think that commissioners need to talk to the council, they need to talk to the redevelopment, and they need to talk to the people. Because there's no transparency, nowhere. And I'm advisory board of redevelopment, and I got in on 2 meetings right before they announced. That's it. And then the very last one, I was cut out. So I think there needs to be no transparency. I've got board presidents from the towns within the county that are being approached by companies wanting them to use their wastewater treatment plants. I know the one in Carlisle's had so many companies wanting to use their wastewater treatment plant. They can't take it on. And they've been trying to reach out to our redevelopment director and not getting any phone calls returned. And, I think the whole county, even the city and all the different areas of our county need to sit down and talk. And how are we gonna prepare for this boom? We don't have the rentals, we don't have the homes. I had a guy knock at my door yesterday, wanting to buy up all the lots in the tornado area to start building houses. We are not prepared for what's coming to this county, and we all need to sit down and talk about it. Because we're all know.
So about a year ago, I had a person that's on the redevelopment committee. And they're like, something big's coming, something big, really big. I said, what is it? Can't talk about it. How many times I could tell, and I'd go home, it's like, oh my God, and I said, nope, can't talk about it.
County or city?
County.
When I ran for council, what am I, my 7th year, 6th year, all I heard was something big is coming, boys. Get prepared, but we didn't know what it was. And all those contracts were all being signed many years before I even came on the council. And so we're still like in session.
Okay, well, if there's any more old business, any new business?
On the road use agreement, who's gonna police?
You're close.
Signed up.
What?
Road use agreement signed out there. Who polices that?
We have,
The engineer.
the county can, and, I believe we wrote into that agreement, similar to the reimbursement of legal fees. A reimbursement for professional fees, that if we choose to, we could hire consulting firm, whoever we wanted to do nothing but that.
So when they get a county road that they're not supposed to bring in equipment, who's gonna make sure that they're not? That they're doing it right?
So again, everyone as a collective, we have our highway guys on the road every day. We have our highway guys on the roads every day. I'll be going out there. We can choose to hire someone specifically for that if we want to. But typically, based on the solar projects, if someone is using a road they're not supposed to, we know it because the people that live along that road will call them down.
So just security, who's gonna watch them out and down? You know, the local works department there, but out of town people, they don't care.
I can tell you, Scott, I've been receiving calls daily on heavy equipment coming out there, but the roads that they're on, the bonded roads. I've been receiving multiple phone calls every day about them bringing heavy equipment out there.
And we're doing something.
And the roads that they are on are all bonded roads by that company. So people are watching, yes.
And Brad, I've got a question for Jerry because my husband's hauling all the time, every day out to Hallador. How are these trucks going to pass each other as they're going out there to work without hitting? The road isn't wide enough.
On 54X,
Yes.
it's a former state road. It's plenty wide enough unless it's an oversized load, a permitted oversized load where they have to have vehicles in front and behind. I mean, 54X is wide enough for two trucks to pass.
Yeah.
Hey, Terry. What we're talking about oversized loads, I was out there the other day, they stopped right in the middle of the highway and dropped their deck on the roadway to unload. No flag, no nothing, that was not technically small trucks, right? And those loads, they're, I mean, I'm talking big loads, dumpsters, loaders, just stop right in the middle of the road, with their flashes on, drop the deck, come over right there on the road, and now at least have flagmen out there flashing traffic.
If we know about it, there again, unless we dedicate someone full time to driving that 4 or 5 mile an hour or 4 or 5 mile stretch. If we know about it, that is prohibited, typically by the in their agreement.
Yeah, we may need to look into hiring that if the feet, everybody, 3 foot number, that's why they do. Maybe something more. So we need to hire something. That's what I mean. If they're paying the bill out in Steve.
Somebody's.
Okay, Grant, I want to ask the same questions I put on for the, county council. How proactive are you guys gonna be? Because who's gonna be taking all these permits, just like we're already apparently doing things they're not to be doing. And what I got from the council was, they're fiscal, you're the muscle. So they're putting on you, they said there is nobody, you'll have your talk about hiring somebody to monitor the field. There's no money available. So I don't know what you guys are gonna do, but how are you gonna be proactive making sure they're following the permits out there?
What do you mean there's no money available?
They said they're hire somebody to kind of be a watchdog for them. They said there was no money available.
The council did?
The council said that. And said that, it's up to the people. I said how, I see things, I report it. Well, that's what people need to do. The county has got so much cut with big beautiful bill and all that. And so I'm curious, as the muscle for the county, I'm a proactive person. I like to try to look down through what's happened. We're not going to change. But how are you guys going to make sure they're following all regulations required? And if they're not, how would you stymie them for proceeding?
I'm not gonna get into any legal options we have, but Jerry, as far as it's asking about policing it, again, you've already answered that. I take it
Yeah.
that you will be the one looking at that and you'll have other people that work for you checking those roads, et cetera, right?
Correct, but we don't have anyone dedicated full time to it.
But who checks the permits to make sure that they are following their permits? I mean, yes, you can say it's a federal permit, we're gonna lay it off on the feds. Or
Well,
if it's state
the
permit.
thing is, the county doesn't issue any permits.
So, but are you verifying that they have the legal permits to proceed with?
I can't verify that now.
That's the state.
Does anybody?
DOT's responsibility.
Again, I'm not gonna get into that, but that's been discussed among the lawyers, so please just wait and see.
Okay. We wait and see, and the town's got screwed. Wait too long.
Back in February, I was in a Shelburne meeting and the Dustin Gretchens had reported that there was 2 data centers coming and he gave the locations of those. And that was in February. And I had been reporting on the locations of the family and everything since February. So how come I knew before you guys did?
That was a different company.
The data center? So there's more than 2 data centers coming? Okay.
I will tell you, frankly, I know of 3 data centers or large corporations are looking for life right now. They are in negotiation with the plan failures. So there's gonna be some growth in the time. And so that's why I'm hoping you guys kind of get the muscle. But you guys get on board sooner than later for what's coming.
Lindsay, you have something else?
one was $10 billion. Then phase two was $45 billion, so 35 billion. But every number you see is 65 billion. So have you seen $30 billion of projects going on before yet? I know that you guys had three, a couple meetings ago, you had three projects and you looked at them and then immediately said, we'll talk about this later. What other projects are you spending $30 billion? Cause you're not gonna overbid $30 billion. On anything.
Things like the Rick Hall swing, they sent plans and stuff to Rick, but I don't. Well, I think that's a Rick Hall question. He's got a lot of the plans and different stuff that they've sent out.
That's our outsourced attorney. That's our outsourced attorney.
That's our attorney that's handled all this.
So you are not gonna build more data center, more, that's a whole nother industrial market. Are they planning on another location? Like, you guys.
What do you mean, Heartland?
What?
Are you talking about Heartland?
Yeah, because Heartland's one that said they're gonna put $65 billion into the county. And their contract is for 35.
Okay, it shows 2.1 gigawatts. That's almost 1.5 million homes and electricity.
And so when Pretentious says they're gonna do that 2.1 gigawatts, the two data centers that they're putting out there is 485 meg. So they're looking at building 5 times that somewhere.
Exactly.
Where else are they building?
Other than the 2 phases, that's all we know about right now.
No one knows. Piggyback on that. Halliburton's a little over a gig a day, so they're gonna do 2 times the power plant's output in data centers.
They're buying off the grid.
What?
That's the Halliburton output is like 65 times the output of they didn't put Sullivan County like. So you're looking at 130 times all the
Yeah, they just been with Hoosier, right?
plus.
They got a purchase agreement with Hoosier Energy. Did you hear that? They're getting half of it from Hallador and half of it from the grid. For Hoosier. Yeah, that's what Jackie just said.
That's what they said.
Well, so that's, if they're pulling from Halliburton, that's still 1,000 or 1 gig. So they're just gonna pull the other gig from the other company and then build. Are we looking at like 5 of these? Like what else are we looking at here? This county is not big enough for all of that, plus the 9,000 acres of solar in Carlat, plus the 1,800 acres of solar that they're putting right outside the power plant, plus however many they're gonna put there, and then whatever RWD is putting in fair run. This county can't function on all of that. You're gonna do all that, there will be nowhere for us. And they don't care because they don't. Yeah. Next place is watch that out.
I want to ask this question here, just to see what your reaction, because I read the, not the prospectus, but the bids they sell on bonds. In the second phase, they're going to be looking for abatements. What's going to be your response to that?
Mine's a hell no. I can tell you that right now.
Do you ask for abatements and then make them do everything you want? Because that's where we're at now. There's no abatements, so we can't force them to do anything. That's how you guys deal with the solar companies. You give them abatement and then you force them to do what? You force them to do the labor union agreements, you force them to do the perimeter agreements, how many feet from the houses, like that's the abatement. So if you don't give these guys an abatement, they just run roughshod over you, which is what they're doing now. Because they didn't want anything, and then they're like, we're doing what we want. So can you make them do some sort of abatement? You're like, we want you to do this.
Well, they are coming in for abatements on the other phases, but that doesn't mean they're gonna get.
Oh, they say.
Yeah, so they said, yes.
We guessed that. But everybody's bigger than.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and end this session. Entertain a motion to adjourn. I'll second that.
Things they don't.
Hang on, folks.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. I just have a quick couple of questions.
Okay.
Obviously we need some free games for the kids in Sullivan County. because we're not gonna be able to afford stuff, but anyway, is it possible to do games? We wanna do like a block party. You know, just like cornhole, nothing major, you know, like the old fashioned games for the kids, that kind of stuff. It would be free games for the kids if I could get the games sponsored. Not asking for anything other than using courthouse law. And that's
Definitely, you would, yeah.
the other thing we would like to do, we would like to honor our veterans.
Hey, guys, quiet down.
We're still set.
We should like to honor our veterans, so we want to put these little luminaries out with their names on it. I want to try to get flags, if I can get them in time, that there'd be a little sand in the bottom so they don't blow away. And the little flag for whatever military branch they were in would be included down in the bag if I can get them. Like I said, if I can get them in time. But just the little luminaries with their names on it, it would just be out over Memorial Weekend along the edge. We would like to maybe get some flags and like crisscross them in between the luminaries. Patriotic kind of thing, if that would be okay, we would really appreciate that.
Can I have a motion in a second,
We
please?
can't have,
What's that?
I said, we can't make a motion on right now, you're ready to close out, so.
Well, just
No.
reopen it. I didn't hear you say it. I didn't hear.
I
motion
didn't
to adjourn.
take the,
Okay.
Yeah, we didn't hear a motion to adjourn yet, so go
Okay.
ahead.
We want motion to reopen it, yeah.
Was there a motion a second to adjourn?
We did.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do a motion.
no, well, I didn't get it, so Dave's on the talking.
I'll second the motion, to reopen
Okay,
No.
now
this
you can
business.
go ahead and vote.
So, I'll let the motion, go ahead, and have it put out.
Yep, I'll make a motion on both, or I'll second that motion on both the Veterans Day and the games as well.
Do you have a date for the games?
And there will be a couple times during the year, probably one around 4th of July. And the other,
I'll come back and double check in case there was,
Yes.
because there's already some
yes,
bookings for the courthouse lot.
and the other one would probably be around Labor Day.
Okay.
Now do your motion to adjourn.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, I'll second that motion to adjourn.
I didn't get all that. We're gonna talk, so. Here, Frank, you can sign.
Well, we need to get off here.
Hold on.